Okay, I'd like to call the City of Elkhorn City Plan Commission November 3rd, 6 o'clock meeting to order, please. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Republic for which it stands, one nation, under God. Roll call, please.
Meinel,
Here.
Geeslin,
Here.
Boardman,
Here.
Stockel, Hunter, Watke,
Here.
Lechner.
Here. Next, we have approved the minutes of October 6, 2022. They're all in everybody's packet.
To be approved as written.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions, changes, discussion on the minutes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes passed for October 6. Next, we have the public hearing and planning commission items. First, we have 4367 LLC owner Thomas Larson, Creekside Community Development, LLC contract buyer Ryan Cardinal, agent, east side of Lincoln Street across from Deer Road. We have the comprehensive plan amendment, public hearing and resolution, and rezone public hearing and recommendation. I'd like to open the public hearing right now. Is anybody here for public hearing? I'll ask a second time, is anybody here for public hearing? And I'll ask a third time if anybody's here for public hearing.
Excuse me. It's Dino.
You okay?
I am now.
I will close public hearing. Now you can present.
Paul Van Hicklam, I'm the engineer and surveyor for Toronto Builders, who are here tonight. They have a purchase agreement on the property. It was normally always referred to as the Proctor Farm. It's on the screen on the monitor as you look at it now. The proposed is to rezone to two parcels, some business, commercial business with on highway business, and the rest residential with a multifamily apartment complex and senior living units. We're looking at 3 senior housing buildings totaling 159 units and 13 residential apartment buildings total 689 units with a commercial piece that would include most likely gas and convenience store and some highway business. The proposal is to construct to extend Deer Road with an intersection. We've ordered a traffic study that started, and the preliminary is there'll be a new traffic signal at that location with turn lanes in and out both ways. That would have a boulevard that would end and would have access to both a gas station convenience store, possibly fast food on the other side or both sides, and some strip highway commercial on the north. The residential project would be several years in the making, with the first phase most likely be the first 5 buildings and the clubhouse and the maintenance building. That would include, and then the expansion would include to the northwest and would also include most likely a connection to Getson with a crossing at the railroad track. We had several discussions with staff and railroad, and we didn't get a green light, but we got the authorization to proceed to the request from the Highway Commission, the State Highway Commission, for the closing or for railroad crossing at that location. This would do a couple things. It give another access to the property. It would give some of these people the opportunity to access to the east instead of getting all the traffic on Lincoln Street, and access things like the high school and the junior high and such. This would also serve, since we looked at the connection and for years, all the discussion was to extend Market Street down basically along the interstate there and connect north of the DMV. And that was always on the master plan. If you look at this property, you look at the stormwater and some of the existing waterways and the interstate and such, nobody could comprehend that connection being a viable connection anymore. So it is a little change in the master plan the Market Street would probably then, the connection here would be through Getson for another access. And the main connection on the highway would be at Deer Road instead of somewhere closer to the DMV. Just a little history on Torontomy. They've done many projects, mostly multifamily, but single family. They have this kind of structures, this kind of developments in East Troy, Beloit, Whitewater, and we've got, they're starting construction on one in Delavan. Tommy and Tony here tonight, they started the business 15, 20 years ago. They live in town. Their office and yard is at Bowers and I-43. And they kind of started building these buildings, and when they build them, they own them, they operate them, and they maintain them. So it's a one-shop stop. If you have a problem with Torontomy, you call up Tommy or Tony, and they're always in the office or mobile. So this is not an out-of-state conglomerate coming in and trying to take advantage of a market that's when they build them and then they leave and they sell it to the highest bidder. They're committed to the community. They live in the area, and straight shooter. So if you have a problem with the project, they're always available. They work with the communities. We're finishing up the one in Delavan now, where they're going to break ground probably later this week or next week. And we're right in the middle of a project in McGuanago, which is approximately 700 units, the same type. These are not low-end apartments. They're middle class to upper class. They have a nice clubhouse, pool. They have a lot of amenities. They have underground parking, which is huge in the state of Wisconsin. They have elevators, security cameras, on-site managers, and the maintenance all comes out of their shop in Elkhorn, which is at Bowers and 43, which is only minutes away. So they've done very well. They have a waiting list at Beloit and East Troy right now. They're adding 3 more buildings in East Troy. They had, I think, 7 there to begin with, and demand is there. They're done in Whitewater, they're done in Beloit, and like I said, they're moving on to Delavan, hopefully Elkhorn and McGuanago. They're serious builders. I think they're over 1,500 units now, and we're heading to 3,000 or 4,000 based on what's on the drawing boards. So a little history on the Proctor Farm. I know most people know this, but it was always zoned or potentially on the master plan to be in light industrial or industrial. Several people have looked at this site, and nobody could make it work. There's some issues with soils. The building they're talking about is a little different. It's residential. It's not big, heavy industrial, and it has underground parking. So you get some more little efficiencies when you design the footing. So they had some soil work done on the site. They think it's viable for this type of construction. They think the market's available in Elkhorn for this type of amenities and these type of units, and they're willing to put their money where their mouth is. So we'd be happy to answer any questions. Again, I think we're asking for a change to the comprehensive plan tonight. And are we doing a rezoning too, Bruce? And a rezoning from current zoning to commercial and residential?
Yeah, the rezone's a recommendation to go to council, so. Plan Commission, any questions? Allison, do you have anything to add to it, or?
I do not. Like he said, they are just looking for a proposed zoning of B5 highway business and RM2 multiple family residence district. And then they're looking to change that proposed 2040 land use plan to highway-oriented commercial and higher density residential.
Questions for Allison on that? Naomi, do you have anything to add? Nothing?
We had a staff meeting regarding the concept plan, and I don't know what details we need to get into at this point, but like Mr. Van Hinkelen said, there's some concern about traffic, so we did indicate the need for a traffic impact analysis with this number of units. And we had some initial comments about the site as far as access through the site, pedestrian access around the site with connection to the building. And as Paul also said, there's wetlands on the site, so there was a need for an updated wetland delineation before we could really take a clear look at the site plan. But I think, he did a good job of outlining what we were talking about.
Bruce, just to identify that, we have the wetland scheduled as soon as the corn comes off. Thought it'd be off by now. I guess it was a late spring, so it's still out there. So that wetland delineation is about 7 years old, but so we don't think it's going to change much, but we're going to get it updated. Traffic study is drafted. It's ready to go to the DOT. And on the traffic study, we looked at one option is not being able to get the Getson access and having maybe another access somewhere else, or having the Getson access. So there's two options on the traffic study, and the TIA is going to be done 30 days after the DOT looks at it. So we'll get you a copy of that when we submit it to the DOT.
One of the questions I had was the second access, which I got covered. And the other one was the loop of Market Street, which is gonna be basically abandoned, right? If this is approved.
A couple things. I don't see, and I know Matt looked at it, Adam looked at it, we looked at it long and hard. Nobody can see that Market Street viable today with both the wetlands and the crossing at Centralia near the interstate and stuff. So it just looked better on paper than it does when you actually get out there and figure out where you gotta snake that through. And then when you connect near the DMV, you're almost too close to the interstate for a major intersection there. So that's going to be the issue. So we like this better, and both Adam and Matt worked hard on the railroad on that Getson, because they were committed to that, and I think we're going to get that. I think the railroad's going to recommend favorably when we go to the Railroad Commission, which is always a good sign. So, but we'll have to go through the process.
And one of the issues, and I think Matt's going to pull it up right here, is that where the city has the right of way actually for Market Street, it actually runs right up against some commercial buildings. So it's really doubtful that there would even be space to actually put that road in. It's right along that road, right along that building that Matt's kind of pointing to right there. So those are some of the reasons we just don't think that that is actually a long-term viable option.
Yeah, and as Paul mentioned too, the railroad wasn't particularly a fan of that grade crossing at that location at Centralia.
And I looked at the draft of the traffic study. There's some traffic that we use Getson, but it's a low volume. It's not anywhere near as the traffic they'll use Deer. So, but it's nice to have a second access. I think Rod's not here, but I'm sure Rod would appreciate the second access. So again, it's an interesting site. I know a lot of people have looked at this over the years. I know it's different than the original plan, but we think it works for what they're looking for. If you notice what Toronto's done in the past, both Elkhorn and Beloit, and they get some pretty good exposure from the interstate. These are upper end type apartments. People like to have good access, and you'll see a lot of teachers and professional type of people, especially with the underground parking, that will pay a little more for apartments than you could if you did them on the cheap. So these are high ends. I think do we include some renderings of some of their other projects or some of the buildings they're proposing?
We did see them when they first
You've seen
came.
those?
Yeah, they had.
So, and if everybody wanted to see any, it's more than welcome to call them up. They'll take you out to East Troy or to Beloit or wherever you want to go, Whitewater. So,
Now, all the roads in that area would remain private? Wouldn't put a burden
internally
on
it
the
would be
city?
private, so you don't have to maintain them. They'll maintain all the parking and the road and all the trails and all the facilities, the clubhouse, even the
This section would
stormwater.
be, this would be public right away here, right? At just this cul-de-sac bulb?
Pardon me?
Would this cul-de-sac bulb here be?
Yeah, that'd be public. We'd dedicate Deer public, and we'd probably have some kind of connection. I would think the crossing at the railroad track on Getson would stop there, and we'd probably have maybe move that cul-de-sac over there, depending on the wetlands. Matt, we'd come up with some kind of plan for that. But, but we, it would be available, it won't be locked, if the public wants to drive through there, they'd be more than able to do that, even though there'd be private roads.
Plan Commission members, any other questions, discussion?
I just have a question, actually. What kind of occupancy rates are you guys seeing at some of your other,
I think they got a waiting
developments?
list now, most places.
Right.
The Village of McGuanago commissioned a study on the needs of the community, and they came up with, they were short 640 apartment units. So we're working on that right now, and plans all been approved, we're just waiting on some details of some of I think they're talking about putting it in a TIF district out there, so. There's a demand, everybody's moving up this way, so.
Saw we had, did you get access to Lee Brown's memorandum?
Pardon?
Lee Brown did a memorandum for the city about this project and his recommendations on it. Did you get a chance to see that?
From the planner?
Yes, Teska?
Yeah, they do some nice stuff, again, and if you could do commercial there, but everybody looks at or manufacturing, and everybody's shied away from that. There's some soil issues out there and stuff like that. And even their plan, they don't like them along the interstate. Toronto really likes them along the interstate. They think that's very good for their product. It gives them exposure. They're nice looking buildings. It's better than putting up a bunch of billboards. People like to be able to get in and out. That's the market of the people that live in these units. You think there's a lot of children in there. There's not. A lot of professional, a lot of snowbirds selling their house and want to stay in the community, come back in the summers and things like that. So, yeah.
I guess I didn't see what he was doing as objecting to the project. I just thought he raised a couple of points. One of them was that you'd have to have, based upon a lot of these facing the highway, there'd have to be some
Right.
high-end windows in there in order to
And,
deal with the
these
line
are
and the
well done.
noise.
They're soundproof. It's all indoors. They do have patios and decks and things like that, but they have, if you see the one at Bloyd, it sits behind Kerry Foods there, and it sits way on top of the hill, and you can hear all the highway noise from both interstates there, and never seem to have any complaints, so.
He raised it, I raised it, so that's why I asked the question. And then, is there any kind of idea on when you'd be developing the commercial product along the front?
The commercial, they're not commercial people, but they've had several people already interested in several of the sites, so, to the point of, if you had to expand the commercial, we'd have to look at something different. So the commercial is, it's the entrance to Elkhorn, so, and we think it's better than the former sewer plant on the other side, so.
Any other
But
questions?
feel free to come out and look at the buildings, and both Tony and Tommy are here, so just call them up.
I have a suggestion, maybe, and we could talk about it offline too, but for the traffic impact analysis,
Yep.
I think it may be best to submit it for city review prior to submitting it to DOT review, in case there's.
Yeah, they're gonna send a draft over there, Matt, and we're gonna send you a copy at the same time. So, Traffic Impact Design's doing it, so they do them all, so. So we've just been we didn't wanna rush ourselves until we got through the comprehensive plan and the rezone, so. Same with the wetlands, all that stuff, based on what happens here tonight and next week, will proceed swiftly.
Commission members, any other questions, discussion? Or do I have a motion?
That be part of the motion, if it was a motion to approve, that it's subject to the traffic survey or not?
certainly could, and it's the strong recommendation of your planner that that be the case, and I leave it up to Allison and her thoughts on that as well, but that'd be my recommendation.
Well, yeah, I mean, but that would be relevant, I mean, how the traffic study comes in. If they say it's not applicable to do this, why, that would kill it, right?
You've certainly got within your discretion the traffic impact, and and it would, if you make this contingent upon that and meeting the satisfaction of Plan Commission and Council, that would make a lot of sense.
I guess my only comment would be this, what they're seeking approval for tonight is the comp plan amendment and a rezoning, not the actual, let's say, planned unit development or any actual site plan or anything like that. So all you're approving is saying, yeah, we think in the future, it's best to do a mixed use or potentially a residential commercial mix here on this site if it's Tronomy or anybody else, as opposed to, using light industry. So, they're still gonna have to come back to you, to the planning commission to actually put forth their plan.
To approve the project.
Yeah, so at that point, you don't want to approve, I'm just,
We'll be back
you
many
want to
times.
see what the traffic study is before you approve anything there, and I'm just saying that might be,
They would still have to do it.
Right.
You're saying, okay.
yeah.
This is a recommendation to send the council to approve the comprehensive plan amendment and rezone.
Right.
That would be our motion tonight.
All right. So, yeah, I move to approve for the comprehensive plan amendment and rezone recommendation.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to move it forward to council for approval for these two items. Do we have any further discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Wettke? Yes. Hunter? Stocko? Boardman?
Yes.
Geisler?
Yes.
Minell?
Yes.
Lechner?
Yes. Motion passed to move forward to council.
Thanks for your time. Like your space compared to the old space.
Will that be on Monday then, Adam? Will be on tomorrow's?
It's going to be on the
Or
7th.
Wednesday? Yeah,
Oh, no, it's
Wednesday.
going to be on the second council meeting, just because the packet's going to go out tomorrow, so we didn't,
So it'll be middle of November.
yeah, it's November 17th.
21st.
Yep, sorry, 21st, thanks.
The 17th is Thursday, so.
Yep.
Okay. Next, we have the Special Teams LLC US 52 Cherry LLC owners, Christina Green, agent, located between Elkhorn Industrial Park and County Highway H, annexation, zoning map designation for public hearing recommendation, and CSM. Anybody here for public hearing on this matter? I'll ask a second time, is anybody here for public hearing on this matter? And I'll ask a third time, anybody for public hearing? I declare this public hearing closed. Welcome, Christina.
Thank you for having me. Christina Green from Sweden Mayor. I am here on behalf of the applicants, Special Teams LLC and US 52 Cherry LLC, tax parcels JG 700001 and JG 700001B. The parcels comprise approximately 55.66 acres of land. They are currently zoned A1 ETZ, Prime Agricultural Land District, and they are within the City of Elkhorn's extraterritorial zoning jurisdiction. Both parcels are depicted on your comprehensive plan future land use map as light industrial, and recommended zoning designations for light industrial are B6, M1, and E1. The applicants are here tonight proposing to annex the parcels to the City of Elkhorn and to have them designated M1 in compliance with your comprehensive plan. The property is immediately adjacent to the Elkhorn Industrial Park. The west end of the property would be used for a cold storage facility greater than 15,000 square feet, and the east end of the property would be used for outdoor storage in the parking area, and then down to self-storage all the way to the east. The west end of the property would be accessed through the existing Koopman Drive and Arnold Avenue. And the outdoor storage portion of the east end would also be accessed through Arnold and Koopman. And then the self-storage portion of the east end of the parcel could be accessed through off of County Highway H, but only for automobiles and personal-owned pickup trucks. So any trailers, boats, RVs, et cetera, have to come through the industrial park. The purpose of the annexation is to develop the land with the cold storage, the outdoor storage, and the self-storage. And then if this is approved tonight for the annexation and the rezone, we are also here tonight requesting a certified survey map. The portion up here at the north would be purchased from the city of Elkhorn, and then that would be used for the access to get the east end and the west end and part of the east end to Koopman Avenue. So I can answer questions. I know you've seen this before, so its intention is to annex and consistent with your comprehensive plan to zone it M1 and then put in cold storage, outdoor storage, and then self-storage closer to the residential area.
Plan Commissioners, any questions for Christina?
I know at council, we discussed the entrance and the exit going out onto Highway H. And they came up, they worked with you on that, and they were satisfied.
Correct.
A couple of the councilmen, they were satisfied with what they felt that was the right way to do it. So that was the only problem that we, we had seen or were worried about, and that's taken care of.
Correct, yes. We met with Alderman Payson, whose district it is, and he did try to approach several of the neighbors to make sure they were satisfied as well. I don't think he got any response, but he was satisfied with this location for the entrance.
Because originally it was up in the corner. across
Correct,
from-
up
yeah.
closer to the church.
Yep.
And we have spoken to the highway department, who also said that they thought that this access is probably a better location than the first one we proposed.
The other thing that council members were concerned about, trucks and RVs coming off of Highway H, but they will not be able to get to the back part of the storage. They have to come through Arnold. Any boat trailers or trucks or anything have to come through Arnold to get to that storage.
The
So,
industrial park.
Yeah.
So there's no semis going out onto H.
Yeah, so
on
they
the
have
trying to
access
turn,
to go
yeah.
west and go right out to the freeway, yeah.
Right.
that was another thing council had brought up and they worked with, and got that straightened.
Correct.
Anybody have any questions or concerns or?
When would they start construction on cold storage?
That I do not know. Do you know? Yeah, probably next year, hopefully. And we have to come back to you for conditional use permits for both the cold storage and for the outdoor / self-storage. So that is, the next application we'd be submitting here once we get past this, if we get approved.
Any other questions or discussion? Do I have a motion to move forward through council at all? For,
Do we
What's that?
approve those one at a time, or do we, oh, I'm sorry.
sure, go ahead.
Todd Krause, I own all the properties.
So, north side or the south side? You said you own south?
We own all the property.
So the southern portion, the farm field here, we did not propose screening along the farm field or the west that goes to the industrial park. We've proposed screening along the north up by the church and then along the east along County Highway H where the residences are. And then also that one, I don't know if it's a residence directly south, if you can see the green berm area. So we are proposing screening that. Okay, so we are proposing screening around that area that you own, but not along the actual farm field itself. Landscaping and a berm.
Well, that's where it was, and
Originally.
originally, council and between the highway department, it was more proposed down, be better.
The concern was on the north, it came too close to that McLean Road and the cross access there. So the southern access we're trying to avoid shining lights into anybody's house across the street, and also trying to avoid church traffic or people coming off McLean Road. And that was the original concern and why we moved it south. The traffic, though, just so you're clear, is only for people going to the self-storage facility. So it's not going to be a significant number of cars. Anything for the cold storage that's in the back or the outdoor storage has to come through the industrial park. It will not come in this front entrance, and that will be gated to prevent any large vehicles with a trailer or semis coming from the front there. We haven't gotten that far yet. That'll be in the conditional use process, so I don't know the answer to that.
Heating and signage too, they'll be both marked to keep, so that it's those kinds of vehicles.
That'll all be in a conditional.
Correct.
Yeah, that's when you want to be here. That's when you want to be here. Conditional use, yes.
Commission members, any questions? So first we have the annexation.
I'll make a motion to approve the annexation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the annexation. Any questions or discussion on that?
And I've reviewed all of Christina's submissions on that, and they're all in order.
Okay. Any questions, commission? Roll call, please.
Wecky?
Yes.
Hunter? Stocko? Boardman?
Yes.
Geesslin?
Yes.
Meinel?
Yes.
Lechner?
Yes. Motion passed for annexation. Next, we have the zoning map designation recommendation.
I move to approve.
Second.
To approve, we have a second. Any questions or discussion on that? Roll call, please.
Wecky?
Yes.
Hunter? Stocko? Boardman?
Yes.
Geesslin?
Yes.
Meinel?
Yes.
Lechner?
Yes. Motion passed, zoning map designation. Next, we have the certified survey map.
I move for approval of the certified survey map.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion on that? Roll call, please.
Yes.
Hunter? Stocko? Boardman?
Yes.
Geesslin?
Yes.
Meinel?
Yes.
Lechner?
Yes. Motion passed for the certified survey map.
Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you. Next, we have general discussion items. Any updates on anything?
I just wanted to welcome Allison. Tonight's her first night filling in, well, not filling in, but taking over for Bonnie. So it's good to have you, Allison, and want to thank Bonnie Schaefer, for all of her service to the city as the zoning administrator. But we're excited to have Allison. So
Welcome, Allison.
Good luck.
No, I think we got some updates from Adam on two of the projects that are out there. And I had asked him, if we could get updates for the planning commission, because we sit here and, go through hours sometimes of conditional use things, and then we never know where they're at, are they moving forward? Or even the new starts for Taco Bell, Starbucks, we got them on that. So, if we could get those updates, I'm sure Allison will get some of them. And just to let us know where we're at. I mean, there's a couple of them that, they were roaring to go, and now we don't see anything happening, and it's just like, are they gonna do it or aren't they gonna do it, sort of thing, So, but I'm happy with the way it's going, so.
Okay, next we have upcoming meeting. Sherry said nothing on November 17th, correct?
No, we shouldn't need it.
Allison? Okay. Looks like maybe December 1st will be our last meeting of this year. So if we have stuff, we'll be here, but thank you guys. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion and a second, do we?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.